Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and welcome to Fiverr's Small Business Month webinar, What Works? Social Media Strategies for Small Businesses. I'm Michelle Baltricitis, Senior Manager of Social Impact and Community at Fiverr. This discussion will explore the pivotal role of social media and digital branding for small businesses. I'll be joined by our wonderful guest, Carla Hernandez Zaldivar, Global Social Media Insights Manager for Booking.com. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation and encourage you to check out our Small Business Hub on Fiverr, where you can find freelance talent to support you in all aspects of your business. We'll be sure to share that link in the chat. Just as a reminder, we'll be answering audience questions in the second half of this conversation. To submit a question, please navigate to the questions tab of the chat or write in the comment section of our LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook streams. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Carla.
Hi, thanks, Michelle. Very, very happy to be here. As I was already introduced, I am the Global Social Media Insights Manager for Booking.com for a couple of years now. And throughout my career, I have been working with social media for quite a few years. So super happy to be here today talking more about how to do social media and how to measure success for small businesses.
Awesome.
So the first thing that I would like to start with, it's a question that I usually have currently besides my job at Booking.com. I am also supporting other small businesses with their social media strategy and efforts. And the first question that people come to for advice is, where should I be on social media? Like, what is my platform? Should I have everything? Should I do TikTok because it's the newest, the trendiest? And to answer that is always the case that I ask a question back, and it's like, where is your audience? Where are your purchasers? Where are your engagers? Where is the people that you want to reach, and where are they active? So it's not a question on what is the trendiest or the greatest social channel, is where you will be able to meet them eye to eye. Just a brief description of, for example, what you could be getting out of each social channel. A lot of people think that you should have a TikTok, but do you need to have a TikTok channel? It all depends if your audience will be engaging there, if you are able to set up, if you are selling a product, if you are able to set up a proper storefront on TikTok, if you are able to manage uploading certain type of trendy content on TikTok, if you are able to jump on those trends on time, if you are able to produce that content, if your audience is actually in there. For TikTok, you do have certain tools that you can use. It also depends on the market. If all of you attendees are in the US, then you will be able to access quite some interesting tools that TikTok offers. You can always use the search actually for whatever people are searching for on TikTok. You can keep an eye on the trendiest content. You can keep an eye on the creator insights as well. And that can guide your content production for TikTok. If you have the ability to scale your social, then you could actually look into handling all your social media channels from a third-party tooling. But that comes with a cost, an investment. You obviously get a return for that investment in terms of how easy it is to handle all your social media channels from that. But it does need a certain investment that not all small businesses are able to do. When it comes to having Instagram is a well-matured, well-developed channel, which usually, on contrary than my regular advice for TikTok, I do advise to always have an Instagram profile. for the main reason that in the current state of social media, and even more so in the US, not having an Instagram profile creates distrust on users, because it is expected that everyone is on Instagram, at least for now. So I always recommend to have an Instagram profile for sure, but the type of content, it's way more straightforward than it is with TikTok, because for Instagram you can literally create content for a month in one day. You can create 15 different stills. You don't have to post every day. You have to take off that pressure. I know that when you search for, social media tips and tricks, etc., online, and you Google this, you will always see advice that says you need to post every day. Just go ahead and post it and do it. And that's a good approach for content creators, but not for small businesses and brands. What I always say is, when you are present on social media, you need to remind yourself that you want to be the brand that has something to say, and not the brand that has to say something. So be very mindful of the messaging that you put out there, and don't fall into the trap of posting every day, because that applies only if you want to be a content creator of an influencer, which is a completely different approach to social media. So going back to Instagram, you can create a lot of content in one go, because you can plan ahead based on what's upcoming for your brand, for your product, for your community in the next month, and you can literally sit down. You can use in a very responsible manner, obviously, and with good human input. But you can always use AI tools to create your content and relieve that kind of pressure if you don't have help. If it's only you doing your thing, you can use ChatGPT to help you write down some of the copy of the post, and then you can use Canva to create the image that will go to those posts. And you can literally program your content to go live whenever you want to. So if you have one free day that you dedicate to do Instagram, go ahead and do it, because if you're not on Instagram, people will, just by not being there, will distrust your brand and distrust your product, because it's like, why are they not in Instagram? Oh, they're not that relevant, and then they can immediately drop. I know I went very hard into a little bit of like hard insights on the social media channels, but I'll just run over the other two that we can talk about in this in this webinar, and it's Facebook and LinkedIn. The thing with Facebook is it's a very old and mature social channel. Nonetheless, it's still a very good conversion and editorial channel. So whenever you are trying to create a community, this applies a little bit more to brands or little businesses that are more about a community rather than a product. And at the end, I will show you a couple of examples of what I mean. You for sure can use Facebook as one of your main community social media channels. Editorial content on Facebook works very, very well. On the contrary, for Instagram and TikTok, where you need to be very concise, very fast, very short in what you say, Facebook is actually a platform where people go to read. The people and the audiences are more mature on Facebook. They are still used to reading in-depth content in there, and the people that are current active users of Facebook actually have a higher attention retention rates. So when it comes to expressing a point of view of the topic, the matter, the things that your community cares about, Facebook is your to-go place. The recommendation is also to always post it with a picture, just because everyone likes to see some sort of visual creative when it comes to reading what you're reading. But definitely Facebook is a good way to go for that type of point of view, extended editorial piece of content. And that leads to the final social channel, which is also very important to small businesses, but in another perspective, which is LinkedIn. Some markets are not that big when it comes to LinkedIn. And again, it depends on the nuance of your business. But LinkedIn is becoming very strong on hosting live events. It's very good to reach out to prospective customers and consumers. And it also gives you credibility of who you are as a company or as a brand. Um, if you're a brand or a small business that is more about community, LinkedIn will be one of your main points of contact with people. You need to keep them updated of what's going on in your community, on your side, on your brand, on your developments. But even if you are a product, a small business that is selling a product, at the end you do have to have your brand presence on LinkedIn. You're not gonna be selling anything on LinkedIn, but you have to create a personality and a brand tone of voice for you. So it needs to be very clear that you are present, that you exist, that you are offering something, but you're not gonna lead people to any conversions or any opportunity to buy something from you on LinkedIn. But it will definitely help with your share of voice, your tone of voice, and also definitely to give you more formality when it comes to being a small business. What it also helps to do is to create your own personal presence as the owner of a small business. If it's one person or 10 people business, if you have a LinkedIn page where it says, hey, Carly, sorry, I also go by Carly. Carly is the owner of this brand, and this brand is the owner of this product. It all comes back in full circle. And when it says Michelle and Carla are also working with these brands, then it really becomes trustful. It gives you and it gives the users confidence in you, in what you're proposing, and it differentiates you from the people that are not there. Now, all of these can be a little bit overwhelming, but it is necessary nowadays. With digital marketing, you cannot not be there, because then you are just not there. You're not reaching the full potential of consumers and community that people that you actually can reach. And it's up to you to take your business as far as you want to go. But again, you don't have to be present in all social media channels. You need to be very mindful of where you are going to put your effort, your resources, your thoughts, and it needs to be where your audience is, basically.
Thank you so much for sharing that overview. I know you mentioned you had a couple of examples that you were going to share, but that was actually one of my questions was, how do you know where your audience is, or what is your advice to small businesses for beginning to get an understanding of maybe which platforms they should start out on, understanding where their main audiences are?
Yeah, for sure. So it goes two ways. The first way is defining who your audience is. So who do you want to sell your product to? Who do you want to belong to your community? Who do you want to have conversations with? And if you say everyone, that's one approach. But usually you do have certain not only demographics, but also personality traits that you are interested on. So one of the examples I'm going to show you, it's actually a family-owned business, which is a mezcal brand, and you are competing with these big US celebrities that are jumping into the mezcal and tequila industry just because they can, and that's where you need to decide, okay, obviously I'm targeting people that like to drink alcoholic beverages, and I would like to target people that probably are, in a purchasing age, and probably all the way up to 50 years old. And you can have that, but you need to know where your strength is, and your strength is not going to be for the people that are going to buy the celebrity owned brands. because then they are not buying the product because of the product. They are buying it because of their affinity with the celebrity. So what you want to do is actually see who your community is and who is my community. So for this particular mezcal brand that I will show you, the community is actually their community. It's actually Mexican people from Mexico City, from Oaxaca. It's actually people that have engaged previously with similar pages, people that are actually have taken cocktail workshops, people that are more into what the product offers rather than the owner of the brand, being The Rock or Haley Bailey or whatever. So in that sense, the first step comes from you into doing conscious research and conscious decisions on who is your community and who is your target audience. The second comes from the platforms. Contrary to what you could think, the platforms actually, and by platforms I mean Meta and TikTok, for example, the platforms are actually very, very useful and very open about helping you to target the right people with your social media content and with your paid media strategies. So if you go to Meta's and TikTok's, not TikTok.com, but like literally business TikTok, you will find a lot of resources and tooling to get a hold of who these audiences are and how you can reach them and how you can target them. And you can download, and I know this is tedious, but it's part of doing social. You can download a lot of use cases, a lot of studies, a lot of researches, which also explain a lot about small brands, celebrities, content creators, big brands, what they have done, what has worked well, and which learnings you can also apply for your own business. So make use of those resources, because a lot of people think that they need to be a big brand to actually have that kind of access to information from the platforms, but you actually don't. There's a lot of free information by the own platforms, owned by the platforms, that you can have access to, and it's very, very enriching to have that knowledge as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for all of that advice. I have so many different directions I can take the conversation with questions, but why don't we jump into some of those examples that you mentioned sharing, and then we can open up the time for audience questions after that.
Yeah, for sure. So if we can share the screen, perfect. So this first one that you see here, this is a local restaurant, but it's more than a restaurant, and that's the nuance I want to talk about. A Beautiful Mess just opened 1 month ago. It's a restaurant that is also a social initiative, because this restaurant hires and supports refugees and people struggling in the Netherlands. And not only that, it also promotes Middle Eastern food, way of living, culture. So it's also kind of like a community center, which is also a restaurant and it's also a bar. And that's what we have: meet, eat, and drink. It's a social experience. So what you will see over here, obviously, we have different highlights for people that just want to get to know the business very quickly. But what's important is the different type of content that they have over here. And I wanted to show you, for example, this does not require a lot of effort. This is just sharing one of the events that they are hosting. This is about a connection cafe, which is going to be based on poetry, date, time, location, nothing else, and a little bit of context. This literally takes half an hour to create and post, and it communicates the right messaging. Then you have a little bit more of the curated content. Just for a little ambience with what the video actually looks like. Again, these these videos were taken actually at an event at the restaurant, and you can create several pieces of content for an always-on strategy at one single moment. And this is one of those moments where you take pictures, you record, you interview people, you gather insights from that event, and then you keep using that content. And again, just a little bit of fun copy and a little bit of an explanation of what is this. This is another example of an invitation for this event. And again, you don't need to do a lot. This is literally a very nice picture taken with an iPhone for the cookies and coffee that they are offering there. But it does add value to the people because they are just putting out there, okay, we have all of this content about these events. We are also a cafe, so you can also just come here for a coffee and cookies. Like, you don't need to come to one of these events. You can come for a beer and have fun. There's no need to overcomplicate things. You can also just come for a beer. This is eat, meet, and drink. So not everything needs to be so curated. Not everything needs to be so deeply thought. You just need to reflect what you want this business, this product, this community to be for the people that you're advertising to. The next one I want to show you, this is the mezcal I was talking about. This brand was just launched earlier this year, officially around February, March. Although this is a product that has been in development by this family for the last couple of years. The brand was actually launched just earlier this year. But by then, the recommendation and the strategy was to already have a social media channel up and running. So we haven't gone big with the launching of the social media channel. We're just trying to create awareness for the brand for now, and we're trying to feel the grid for now. So when we do go like very strong with promoting the social media channel, then it has a lot of substance to it. So this is very early stages of the development of a social media channel for a particular product. But what is important is to see here is that, for example, in this one, you don't even have the product in there. So you could say, yeah, but what are you even selling here? And again, this particular mezcal brand, so as you can see here, there's no mezcal over here. This particular brand is about the community, because this is this is a family-owned business, but it's also a mezcal that is not only sustainable but also socially conscious, because all of the sales cycle and the reinvestment of whatever they have for the business actually goes back into the same community where the maguey and the bottling and the branding and the labeling and everything else came from, which is a community in Oaxaca, Mexico. And that's very important for them, and that's a lot of the essence of their brand. So this is very early stages of development, and a big part of this social media strategy is also based on content creators. But we wanted content creators not that have millions of followers, but that they have a very engaged, niche, small community that actually matches that community that they are trying to reach with their products. So this is one example.
Por la que nunca deberías de comprar mezcal por internet. La verdad es que yo también soy uno de los que todavía les dan miedo hacer las compras en línea. Un día, investigando sobre mezcales, pues me gusta mucho la bebida, encontré uno que me llamó mucho la atención. Eran tantas las buenas reseñas de este mezcal que cuando descubrí que estaba disponible por Amazon, di un salto de fe y me aventuré.
So this was to officially announce that they were live on Amazon Mexico. And yeah, so they are trying to stay very, obviously they want to make sales, and obviously they want to be a very good competitor in the mezcal industry. but they want to do it very, very close to the roots, to their where they're coming from, and the creators that you will be able to see, for example, that they are doing collaborations with the brands. It's people from the same community, and it's down to earth people that just make sense for the brand to do, because when they pay these content creators, they want these content creators to be people from the same community, and you will see these collaborations there as well. And finally, I wanted to I'm gonna have to go to TikTok here. So this one, just disclosure, this one I am not handling. I just I have nothing to do with this one. I just think it's a very good example of how to do TikTok if you really think that your audience is actually there. This is the Mexican Beauty. It's an American Mexican kind of owned account, but they are doing very well in what they do at TikTok. They are not only, obviously they are showcasing products. By the way, they are not selling the products. This is literally a content creator. This is an influencer, but her thing is to talk about makeup from a Mexican American perspective, basically. So she not only shares products and like makeup routines and stuff, she also showcases what she does to get a hold of these products, how she chooses products at the stores, and it's very low key. It's for TikTok, you don't have to have high quality, very complicated productions. You can be very natural, very much how you would create content for your friends, and that's the approach that this creator is having into what she's doing. And I just think it was a good example to share with you in terms of, if you want to jump into TikTok and if you feel like your audience is actually reachable via TikTok, then it's a good example of how to handle that. And obviously in here she has all the links to she sometimes has like affiliates links and discounts for followers, etc. And not only because she's doing this good work, but also if you are thinking on working with content creators to reach to their audiences because they actually match the audience that you want to reach, you don't have to you don't have to do this with people that have millions of followers. You don't have to do this with celebrities to make it matter. This is a mid-tier content creator that has just like 50K followers, which is not a lot these days actually, but it can make an impact on the awareness that you can have for your products. I don't want to eat up any time for questions or anything, so I think I can leave the examples here, and we can move to the questions.
Okay, awesome. So if you've submitted a question in the chat, great. If not, there is still time. We'll get to as many as we can. So I'm actually going to kick us off with a question. Thank you so much for sharing all of those examples, Carla. You mentioned that the Mezcal brand launched earlier this year, and you mentioned one tactic that they used was working with a community influencer, content creator that has a small but strong niche following. I'm wondering if you have any other advice or tips for small businesses, either just starting or they have limited budgets. What are some cost-effective social media tactics that they can implement to maximize their reach, in addition to this one that you mentioned?
Yeah, I have one very good tactic for products and one very good for community, which is how I like to see two different approaches for small businesses on social, whether you're selling a product or you're creating a community. So for product, literally my best advice is do a giveaway. It always works. It gives you so much reach. It gives you so much engagement. People will always want to participate for something that is free. And you can fill that giveaway with important messaging about your brand. You can talk a lot about you can talk a lot about your products. You can give that space that you need to make yourself known. And when you run a giveaway, one on TikTok and one on Instagram, you might have to invest, I don't know, depends on your product. You can give away one of your product, or you can actually make synergy with other small businesses and say like, hey, we're gonna package this up and follow them, follow me, comment, tag people, share in your stories, and we will have a winner announcement X day. Usually giveaway is recommended to be run for at least 2 weeks. Hopefully you are able to run it for a month if you have the capacity and if you have the energy also to keep it up, because you would have to post a couple of times throughout these few weeks that it's running live. And there is no need to worry or complicate yourself into choosing the winner, because there are a lot of tools to choose a winner from. If you choose to select the winner from the comments on your post, then it's very easy to plug into one of these websites. You can literally Google, help me pick winner tool Instagram, and then it literally will come up on the first results on the search. And that's a very, very good strategy for you to reach to a lot of people and to talk more about your product and have more awareness. If you're going to do that, be ready to have a strong social media strategy and content ready to be published, because when you gain those followers, then you need to retain them. So if you're gonna run this giveaway, already have a month or a month and a half of content in the back to be ready to be posted, because then you will have to keep adding that value to your consumers. In terms of community, I would always recommend to reach out to content creators and influencers. I personally, and in the industry I move, we always differentiate between content creators and influencers. So influencers are usually the more high-end, tier 1, millions of followers people. Content creators are people that create content that's meaningful and that works for other purposes. So when I say match up with content creators, try to find people that want to help your community, that want to belong to your community, that resonate with your community, and make them community ambassadors. For the time that you're going to start with your social efforts, you won't be able to offer them maybe a lot, but in the long run, if you're able to maintain that relationship, then they will be able to say, I participated with this brand, with this community, and I am an ambassador for this community because of this and these reasons, and it becomes a win-win. So my advice with when you're trying to create community is reach out to like-minded people that also believe in your project, that they have their own project, that you have synergy, and literally go hand by hand and grow together. That's what we're trying to do with the Mezcal brand, for example, which again goes against what I'm just saying, because it's a product, but at the end, part of the brand essence is that community building.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so we're going to take our first audience question now. This one is from Annabelle. Do you have any recommendations for courses, coaches, or resources to learn how to manage meta ads most effectively?
Yeah, actually, Meta offers some courses. They do change them. But if there's 2 accounts that you can follow on Instagram. One is Joseri, which is literally is the CEO of Instagram, and his account is full of news, trends, tips, and tricks of how to use Instagram and Facebook to the best. And if you follow Instagram for business, that's literally how you can follow it, Instagram for business. Literally, you find everything in there. You will find step-by-step manuals, how to set up campaigns. You will find resources and people that you can reach out to. You will find business cases on how they grew their community. You will find a guide on how to access the right content creators for your brand. So again, goes back to my my recommendation on go back to the platforms, because they want you to use their platform, so they will facilitate that for you. More than that, and I know this sounds scary, if you watch some YouTube tutorials on how to set up your Facebook Business Manager, and if you are able to understand what different optimizations can give you for your business purposes, literally just go ahead and click around and launch your first campaign. If something goes wrong, Meta will let you know. They will send you an alert and say, hey, this is wrong, and then you will figure it out. Contrary to what people think, you don't need millions of dollars to actually launch a campaign. You can literally launch a campaign with $100. And those $100 can give you a reach of 2 million people. So my recommendation is, as scary as this sounds, read a lot, and just go ahead and do it. Just literally click around and set up your first campaign and launch it. There is no better way to learn than by doing.
Great advice. Next question we have from Adam. Are there any tricks or techniques to getting on the For You page on TikTok?
In reality, no. And I say this on a more like I've heard from TikTok, because we do have a partnership with them, because we are a big account for them, obviously. No, but there are tips and tricks to avoid being kind of muted on the For You page. So the first thing is short copy. Short copy, you don't need to have a long sentence. So short, concise copy underneath the videos. Always have copy in video. So not only on the on the bottom where you click to read whatever that post is about, in video. So when you're editing, add your copy on the video. Add it on TikTok's native editor. So don't use CapCut, because TikTok will always prioritize TikTok edition tools. And be very aware of the safe spaces, which you can also Google. But obviously, when you're scrolling through TikTok, and if you have copy over here, you won't see anything, because then you have all the follow and comments and everything in there. So be very aware of that. And if you upload content and you realize that there was a mistake, do not upload it again, because TikTok's algorithm recognizes it as copied content, and it will mute it, so it won't fly. So those are some of the few things that you can do to help your content as much as possible. TikTok likes longer formats of video these days, so more than 1 minute, they will favor videos that are longer than 1 minute, rather than what it used to be of like 6-second videos. So that could also help. And having captions as well. So if you are speaking but it's not very clear, or if people are watching but they cannot hear you, it's very good to always have the captions on. You don't have to do the captions yourself, but you can turn on the captions from TikTok, and you can always do that. So summary, short captions, in video copy, respect the safe zones, don't upload the same content twice, and use the captions and the editing tools from TikTok. Do not edit outside the platform and then upload to the platform.
Great advice. I do find myself staying longer on videos with captions, so that definitely resonates. Next question is from Paul. He says, I'm interested in collecting leads on social media. Is it necessary to hire a freelancer or agency to do this for me? And maybe if not, what are some other ways that he can achieve this?
I mean, honestly, it depends on your own capacity to do things. Whether you want to spend your time setting up these campaigns, like lead generation campaigns, and if you have that time, there's no need to hire an agency. Literally, and this is playing against my own role, but my job can be done by the neighbor and the other neighbor as well. Because when you learn how to do it, it's very simple and easy, but it's time consuming. That's the thing. So if you are willing to give that time to that campaign and setting it up and following up and optimizing that campaign, you can 100% do it yourself. If you feel like your time is better spent on focusing on product development, of community development, or networking, or anything else that's not social media, and if you just want it done, then 100% hire a freelancer, an agency that can not only conceptualize the campaign, but also create the content, posting it, and delivering the final leads to you. And then you just can, get it over with, forget about it, and the job will be done. And it depends if you can pay for those resources. Because another thing that I usually find is that people that are not social media professionals tend to, and I'm not saying that you are not, but this is like a big problem in the social media industry, that people that are not working on social media themselves tend to downplay the value of the social media work. So it's not cheap labor. It cannot be it cannot be done without previous knowledge, proper previous knowledge, and it must be rewarded in the same way. My answer is it depends on you and where you want to spend your time and your money.
That makes sense. Thank you. And I know a number of entrepreneurs, we run our Future Collective program, which is a business accelerator. I know a number of them have hired freelancers to get this done. And so it definitely just depends on, like you said, the bandwidth. Okay, great. Next question we have coming up is from John. And I know this is a question on a lot of entrepreneurs' minds, but what is the best social channel for targeting Gen Z? What kind of content should I be focusing on for this target audience?
Again, it depends. If you're trying to sell them a product in the US, definitely do TikTok and Instagram, because Gen Z, contrary to what you think, they're present everywhere. They just use social media differently. You could even explore having ads in Snapchat. Snapchat is still very much alive in the US. So you could also explore that, but it's not about the channels that you use, it's how you approach them. So Gen Z is everywhere. Just be mindful of that. It's not that they are not, it's just how they're using social. They are using Instagram to basically buy things because they see Instagram as the brand repository for social. So whenever they are interested in getting hit by brands that are maybe what they're looking for, they do go to Instagram a lot. On TikTok, they are looking for entertainment. So the TikTok shop is very, very, very important and very big in the US. And it's helping a lot of small businesses to actually get conversions and a lot of return of investment for what they're trying to do. So explore the TikTok shop, but make sure that if you're present in the TikTok shop, that you have a strong organic presence on the platform for Gen Z. And the organic presence is when people go to your profile and see your content, and you need to resonate with them. And Gen Z are not going to TikTok to buy. They're going to buy if they resonate with you. So be fun, make puns, be real, talk about what matters to them. And that's the kind of content that you need to reach Gen Z with in TikTok. And you can still have your TikTok shop set up, and they will buy your brand if they resonate with you. There was this case of His and Hers. I don't know if you heard, but the His and Hers CEO made some declarations about the current conflicts, and because of that, the stock, their stock in the market fell very, very, very badly. and Gen Z started talking about it on TikTok, and because they actually support the CEO, they started buying stocks, just as they did with GameStop, and with millennials also, like a year ago or a couple of years ago. And from the moment it became something on TikTok, you can see the stocks going on. So do they resonate with the product? They didn't even know about the product before, and yet they were buying their product, and they were buying the stocks because they resonated with what the brand stands for and the owner of the brand stands for. So if you're going to do TikTok shop, be very, very strong with your organic content on TikTok. And for Instagram, be there, sell, because people go there to buy.
Awesome. Okay, next question from Hamed. What is your preferred tool to manage social media advertising activities?
Well, for me, I don't know if you know it, we use Sprinkler, and it's actually a very powerful tool, but it's also a very expensive tool. But it allows you to do everything. You can listen, you can benchmark, you can report, you can advertise. And the advertising part, it allows for a lot of automations, rules, and testings that the native platforms does not allow you to do. So for me, that's my personal favorite. But that being said, actually the advertisement platforms, like the native advertisement platforms, Business TikTok and Business Meta, are actually very, very robust, and you can do a lot in there. So those are also good to use, and are actually quite intuitive to use as well. But yeah, my choice will always be to handle everything from one place, and in my case, that's Sprinkler.
Awesome. Okay. Next question is from Leonardo. Are there any ways to increase reach on Instagram specifically when you have a small number of followers?
Yeah, I mean, you can run a reach campaign. There are literally advertising campaigns made for exactly that. Basically, the algorithm will target as many people as possible that resonate with the bare minimum of what you are selling or saying. And again, don't be scared about when you hear paid campaigns or media spends, people get taken aback because they're like, oh my God, now I have to invest my money on this as well. Yes, but again, don't think millions of dollars. It's literally, you can start building up yourself into reaching and creating brand awareness with $100. You can, I think the minimum required to start a campaign is $50 with a minimum spend of $10 per day or something. So you can do a lot of testing, and yeah, literally there are campaigns done for that. And you will be able to see the results right away. You will see people incoming for whatever it is that you want to do. Within reach campaigns, you can do conversion, you can do followers, you can do engagements, you can do a lot of things.
Awesome. This next question is a great one. I was actually thinking it earlier, coming from Zach. As a business selling a service rather than a product, what are some good things to show in pictures, videos to stand out amongst adverts for products?
Strong points of view of what you're doing. Contrary to what people think, when you do services, a lot of people are trying to constantly sell the services in like, oh, this is what I do better than the next one. But are you teaching people how to do stuff? Are you adding value to their lives? So, for example, there's, I don't know if you've seen this type of content, but I love it. It's cleaners, people that literally clean for a living. And they started, it's like a big trend now, but a few of these content creators started to literally just post about very dirty places that they're cleaning, like the before and after, and it became a whole thing. And then they started to teach people how to clean, because a lot of people were like, oh my God, how did you do that? What products did you use? I just have one soap for my entire house. And that's how they created their community, by having a very strong point of view of the services they offer, but adding a lot of value to the people. So you need to step out of your role as, owner of a business, and you need to see it on the other side of like, if I am interested in these services. What do I want to see out there? And there's a lot of room for educational content, for funny content, for editorial content that emanates from the services that you offer, but it doesn't have to talk about your services. It just talks about the bigger scheme of things in terms of what this community needs out of those services. So you could think about that kind of content instead of just, hey, call me, I can be of use to you. It's more like, how can I bring value to what you're seeing on social? And the value can literally be entertainment for starters.
Yep, that makes complete sense. Okay, next question is from Laura. Is it necessary to tailor content to each channel specifically that you're using, or can I syndicate content across multiple channels?
It is necessary because the media literacy of the upcoming digital users is very high. So they will tell through you not making an effort. People will recognize when you are repurposing content made for Instagram to TikTok, and people will recognize when you posted a TikTok on Facebook. It's not recommended. I know you think it can save you time, but it can lose you engagement. So I always recommend not doing that. When you're recording content, you have that, and this is about video, right? But when you're recording content, you have that raw footage. The way you edit it can be different for TikTok that on Instagram, and yet you did only one take. So you can still optimize your efforts in terms of creating that content, but do not post the same assets in several channels. You can make those changes on the editing phase if you don't have the bandwidth to do it on the producing phase. If you ask me, if you do have the resources and if you have the personnel and the bandwidth, then produce it from the beginning. The conceptual creative, do it for Instagram or for TikTok or for LinkedIn or for Facebook or for Snapchat. You can still have the same idea, but it looks very different in these channels. And I'm not going to show it here. And this is also like a personal for me, but actually, if you go to booking.com's channels, as soon as we're done here, the latest reel that is up on Instagram and the latest video that is up on TikTok, it's the same asset, but it's actually very much done for each of the channels, and you will know what I mean. And by the way, that asset is also my dog, Starry. So just personal promotion here.
A moment of fame for your dog. I love it. Okay, cool. Next question is from Robert. And by the way, I think we have a few more minutes. So if you haven't gotten your questions in yet, please type them into the chat or on our social channels. So the question from Robert, do you recommend using call to action buttons on Instagram? And I'll extend this question and make it applicable to every social media platform.
Yes, but have a purpose for them. So for Instagram, and when you set up your campaigns, you will be able to see that. But for Instagram, you have the opportunity to send people to your Instagram profile. So literally, they're looking at an ad and they click the CTA button and they go to your Instagram profile. You do that if you want them to follow you and to grow your community. But if you're literally just trying to convert into sales points, just get them literally not to your website, to the product in your website, like to whatever is very specific to them that they are clicking from. Take them there, like save as many clicks as possible for the user, because people lose interest very, very quickly. Now, if you want to promote your website, then lead them to the website. So, and this is not only for Instagram, but also for TikTok and also for LinkedIn. Yes, I do recommend using them as long as you have a purpose for it. You don't have to have a CTA button. You don't have to have it. You can also just advertise your content because you want people to love your brand and to love your business and to engage with you, and you don't have to ask them to take an action from it. You can also just be natural and say, hey guys, I'm here and I'm funny. Thank you. You don't have to do anything else. And maybe in the next one, they will do something.
Got it. So having a goal for kind of each post and understanding what that is. Next question from Shahana. How do you use social media for audience research?
Well, that's a very interesting one. So when you are advertising in social media, you have hundreds of combinations of who to advertise to. When you have a more established overview on who your audience is, this means when you are not exploring anymore who your main audience is, when you have a mature main audience, then you can start experimenting pretty much into which audiences are actually interesting for your product, your community, your social channels, your brand, your business. Um, in terms of researching that, you have to go ahead and create these new audiences. You can create audiences based on interests, which is the most basic one, but you can also create, if you have enough followers for one market, for example, you can also create audiences that are called lookalikes, which is people that look like your actual followers from your account. So that will expand the reach into people that you might not tap if you say, oh yeah, that they are interested on mezcal. Oh, but guess what? Your followers are also, by some random reason, very interested on football. So the algorithm will also target these people that are also very much into football and will give you more reach. There's a lot of experimentation and research that can be done with audiences. You can also experiment with very niche interests. You can, for example, on Meta, you can target people that are interested on Lady Gaga. You can also use Meta just launched AI Plus. I think that's called AI Plus. So, for example, when people take action from Meta and purchase something directly from Instagram or from Facebook, Meta has those pinpoints for who they are. And when you want to say, hey, I want to advertise to a certain type of audience, you can say one thing. You can say, I want to advertise to people that have interest in football. But what AI Plus will do, because it has all this information from people that have purchased jerseys and football balls and tickets to matches, they will also target them even if they don't have per se football interest. So there's a whole world out there that you can experiment with audiences, but you should first try to have a mature, broad audience that is already engaged with you before starting to experiment with more niche audiences.
Awesome. Okay, last question from YouTube here, and I think this is a good one. It's on a lot of entrepreneurs' minds. How do we build up social media from scratch? Most people judge by likes, comments, and followers, and if you don't have them, they may not bother following.
That's very true. But if you don't start, then you won't have any followers or any likes whatsoever. So it's not starting just for a start, just for the sake of starting. It's not putting just anything out there. And contrary to what some people think, it actually requires quite some effort to first launch a social media channel. And you need to make the peace with the fact that for a while you might not have a lot of followers and you have to keep going. You cannot leave your social journey expecting for something to go viral and suddenly have 7 million followers. It might happen, but you cannot rely on that to keep your efforts ongoing. So first, start with a plan. Who you are on social. Take some examples of other brands and other businesses that are of interest to you, and it's who you are on social. Define that, so your tone of voice and how you're going to present yourself in there. Define who are your competitors on social. So not necessarily your product or community competitors, but who are the people that will inspire you and will guide your social inspiration. So define that as well, to keep tabs on them, and to be able to jump on trends that they are jumping as well, from your own personal point of view, and have a plan. Start creating the content. Have a calendar. I know it sounds overwhelming sometimes. But if you don't have a content calendar, then you are making pointless efforts because you don't have a North Star, and you always need a North Star. And when you lay down your content in a monthly calendar, a weekly calendar even, you know what you want to achieve that week, you know what you want to achieve that month, and then you target all your social efforts towards that. Mix up your content. If you're going to be on Instagram, create some videos, create some stills, create some carousels, and see what resonates better with that audience. That it might be very little, but if they are resonating better with carousels, then put more effort in those carousels. So it's the time for you to be present, constant, and to keep spirits up, because you need to make peace with the fact that for a while you're not going to have a lot of followers, and you're not going to have a viral video, and you're not going to have hundreds of likes. But when you look back after 6 months or 1 year of your social journey, you will see that at the beginning you had 11 likes, and now you have 93. And when you look at 93 or 150, at that moment, it will feel like something very, very small. But then when you remember that you used to have 17, you're like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, it's it's going. It's slowly but surely. So have a plan, have a strategy, benchmark yourself, take inspiration from accounts that you think are doing things well, and be constant. That's the thing. Again, you don't need to post every day. You don't need to post 3 times a week. You need to post whenever you need to post, but be constant and be mindful of that content.
Awesome. So starting somewhere, having a plan, and sticking with it. Carla, thank you so much for joining, sharing all of your expertise. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of our conversation. Thank you to everyone who came out and asked thoughtful questions today as well. We'll be sharing this webinar on our YouTube channel, where you're welcome to continue the conversation in the chat. Once again, if you'd like to check out our Small Business Hub, the link will be shared in our follow-up email. Don't forget to complete our post-event survey to be eligible for $100 in Fiverr credit. It's now open in the chat and will be available to you for a full week after this webinar. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Carla, and have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you.